Take a moment and look at this. A food so common we barely notice it anymore. It sits quietly on plates, next to meals we don't even remember. And yet, this simple thing changed the course of human history. It fed entire continents. It allowed populations to grow. It decided who survived and who didn't. This is not a story about luxury. This is a story about survival. This is the story of the potato. Long before the potato reached Europe, long before it became comfort food, it was born in one of the harshest places humans ever learned to live. High in the Andes Mountains of South America, the air was thin, the nights were freezing, the weather was unpredictable. Most crops failed here, the potato didn't. It grew underground, protected from frost. It stored energy efficiently, and it adapted again and again. For the people who lived here, this wasn't just farming. It was survival. Over thousands of years, indigenous communities learned how to work with the land, not against it. They domesticated wild potatoes. They selected the strongest varieties. They learned which ones could survive cold, drought, and altitude. And slowly, something remarkable happened. The potato became reliable. The Inca civilization understood something fundamental. Civilizations don't rise on luxury. They rise on stability. They built their food system around the potato. Not just growing it, but preserving it. By freeze-drying potatoes into chuno, they created food that could last for years. In a world without electricity, without storage, without certainty, this meant safety. It meant cities could survive bad seasons. It meant armies could march. It meant people could endure. For the Inca, the potato wasn't a side dish, it was security. The potato didn't arrive in Europe as a hero. It arrived quietly, almost unnoticed. In the 1500s, Spanish ships returned from South America, loaded with silver, gold, and unfamiliar plants. Among them was the potato. But Europe didn't welcome it. It grew underground. It wasn't mentioned in religious texts. Some believed it caused disease. Others thought it was unfit for human consumption. For decades, the potato was ignored or fed to animals. But hunger has a way of changing minds. Slowly, farmers began to notice something strange. The potato survived cold climates. It grew in poor soil. It produced more food than grain ever could. And without announcing itself, the potato began to spread. Once the potato took hold in Europe, something unprecedented happened. People stopped starving regularly. Harvests became more reliable. Winters became survivable. Children lived who would have died before. Europe's population began to grow rapidly. More people meant more labor. More labor meant expanding cities, and expanding cities meant industry. Quietly, the potato became fuel for the modern world. But abundance carries a hidden risk. When one food becomes too important, entire societies begin to depend on it. Nowhere was this dependence stronger than in Ireland. By the early 1800s, millions of people survived almost entirely on potatoes. When disease struck the crops, there was no alternative. The result was catastrophic. Over 1 million people died. Another million were forced to leave their homeland forever. The potato didn't cause the collapse. Dependence did. The potato didn't conquer the world, it blended into it. As it spread beyond Europe, it didn't replace local food traditions. It adapted to them. It entered kitchens quietly. It took on new flavors, new meanings, new roles. In each culture, the potato became something different, not foreign, local. In India, the potato became aloo, folded into spices, stews, and street food. In Peru, its birthplace, thousands of varieties continued to exist, each one tied to altitude, soil, and tradition. In Japan, the potato was refined into croquettes, soft, precise, carefully crafted. In the Middle East, it became heat and spice, fried and shared. In Northern Europe, it remained simple, boiled, mashed, baked, not exciting, reliable. The potato didn't become global because it was superior. It became global because it was flexible. It didn't demand to be eaten a certain way. It allowed cultures to decide. That's why the potato feels familiar everywhere. It's not just food, it's comfort, it's memory, it's survival, repeated across generations. Today, the world looks very different. Technology has advanced, cities have grown, Food is packaged, branded, and transported across continents, and yet the potato remains. It is still one of the most important foods on Earth. Not because it is exciting, not because it is rare, but because it works. The potato is affordable. It is nutrient-dense. It produces more food per hectare than many other crops. It grows in poor soil. It survives cold climates, and it feeds millions every single day. As climate uncertainty increases and food systems become more fragile, the qualities that once made the potato essential are becoming important again. Reliability, efficiency, adaptability. The potato doesn't promise luxury. It promises continuity. It doesn't dominate cultures. It doesn't demand attention. It quietly supports daily life in kitchens, markets, and meals around the world. The potato never tried to change history. It simply kept people alive. And sometimes that is enough to change everything.